Good morning, everyone. This is Spirit Journey. I'm going to discuss a very sensitive, controversial subject: pedophilia and homosexuality. Now, I'm going to talk about my experiences in the military. Now, I know that homosexuality and pedophilia are not the same thing, but there's a lot of overlapping as we see in the media. I put up a video yesterday regarding this actor who allegedly molested this, at that time, a 14-year-old. And so his excuse was, well, I'm a gay man now, as if it excuses his behavior. So this video is going to be about that train of thought, that vein of thought, and it pertains to my stay in the military. Some of my viewers know that I was in the military. I was in the Navy. I was in the Navy in the 1980s, the late 80s. And back in those days, well, I went in the military when I just turned 25. So I was a little older than the majority of the new recruits. I was born and raised in the U.S. on the East Coast. And I was, I was kind of very naive about a lot of stuff. But I do have to share, and some of you viewers know that I had shared that I was molested growing up. And so I think my interest in this subject stems from that, and that I eventually, like 13, 14 years ago, had called the authorities on my abuser, and that individual did do some jail time, only 4 months. But either way, it was a stressful time for me, and I think hearing all this stuff about the pedophilia is really triggering my emotions and my desire to share this information. Now, I did mention that about the overlapping between homosexuality and pedophilia, that they're different things, but there's a lot of overlapping. Now, when I want to expose what happened, the things that I was told to when I was in the Navy. Okay, like when you get in the military, excuse me, you first go through boot camp, and then they send you to a school where you learn your job, and then they send you to your station, where you're going to work. And so this is going to be when I arrived on my ship. The ship that I was on is no longer in commission. It's decommissioned. But when I arrived on the ship, I think it's like a 2-week period that it's like an indoctrination. They introduce you to where you're gonna, you're living on the ship, the commander's name, all these, it's like think of it like when you're new at a job, a company, and you have an orientation, an indoctrination of the company, And so during this, I think, 2-week period, there were some things that happened, and so that's what I want to discuss. My commander, like the division that I was to be working with, alongside with, they were at the seminar, orientation, whatever what you want to call it. And they were discussing, things that happened before we arrived on the ship. And they mentioned that there was some incident with the women, that they were lesbians on the ship, and that this incident, if I can remember right, because this is about 30 years ago, there was, well, you had someone in the mailroom. I mean, the person who receives the packages. Like if you live on the ship, you want some packaging home, whatever, gifts, whatever, mail, letters. You send it to this window on the ship, and they'll mail it. And something happened with this woman that, now the commander, the people in charge of my division are giving me a debriefing. And they said something like that they wrote on a napkin or something, a cloth, and they wrote it in lipstick, I think it was red lipstick, that they were going to harm this lady. And of course she passes on this information, that she's being threatened. And these ladies that threatened her were lesbians. And so I was told that the captain ordered that I'm not sure whether it was all the lesbians or all homosexuals, regardless of their gender, were to be, that they would be given an honorable separation but being kicked out of the military. And that the next port of call, next port that we're in, because they were in the water, this is on a ship, they weren't at a dock, it was in the open ocean. But the next port that they will be at, they will be kicked off. So they were allowed to leave. And many of them left. This one particular female, she was 18 years old, and she was in the indoctrination, that 2-week period, that buffer where you're introduced to, the military life and, life on the ship. And during this time, after the orientation or seminar, whatever, once we finish for the day, we're allowed to go out. I think at 7 p.m. you could go out, you're on vacation, get off the ship and then, see the surroundings. And the ship was ported at Marseille, France. That's in the Mediterranean, right in the Mediterranean Sea, that part. And it was a group of us that were, I think it was a total of 4 of us. We're from all different parts of the state, all different backgrounds. And this one, I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that, but this one particular woman, she's from Texas, and she was it's like also when you're in the military, people share their, about themselves. And so she was saying that she was married to a woman. I think of when she said she got married because she's only 18, but that, she enlisted, but she misses her girl, her girlfriend / wife, and she will be getting off the ship, she'll be leaving, but they wanted the heads up, people in charge on the ship wanted her to stay a little bit longer so she could find out and dig out all the rest of the lesbians. And so she's being used as a trap. But she's telling me this, and I I'm not sure if the other women were there on the ship. I'm trying to remember. I think also that they kept it separate. I think the men from the women in this 2-week period. I forget, or it could have been just coincidental that we were all women. I forget. I really forget that part. But either way, what's important is that, we're off the ship now. We're in France, and we're looking around, and she's showing me. We were still on the pier. It's a long pier, and she's telling me this story, and I felt uncomfortable. I remember, and she's telling me that she's being used for this, and that, and then she's demonstrating by putting her hand, her arm around my arm, demonstrating like when couples walk arm in arm, something like that, and to see if she can trap. And I felt uncomfortable, her demonstrating this on me, because I don't bend that way, and I just awkward with people in general touching me. I don't like that. I don't feel comfortable people touching me. But either way, she's recounting, this story. I'm sorry, it's my little doggy. He's sleeping and he's barking in his sleep. I'm sorry. So either way, so she's telling me this, and I feel a little uncomfortable. But she's saying that they want her there to try to lure the other lesbians, and so she will identify who they are. Okay, why she's telling me this, and why she's doing that. Why would you say, "Oh, I'm here to trip you"? Oh, okay, I'm going to see if I can do it to you, so I can trip you. Well, that's what happened. Okay, then she gets processed out because I guess the time is up, and she wants to be home to her new wife. So again, this is the first time that I hear this type of conversation. I even though I'm from the East Coast, but my lifestyle was very conservative. So that's that story. And then kind of fast forward just a little bit. So I was told about the scandal that happened on the ship, because a female was threatened by some of the lesbians, some type of harm, I guess physical harm to her, and so they want them to be kicked out of that ship because they were a potential threat. So as time went on in this, that's what I was told by the debriefing that I had regarding those other ladies. So one day I remember there was like the sleeping quarters between men and women are separate, and then there's like a lounge, where it's like a television and chairs for you to sit on. And one day it was in the evening, it was, I think, after dinner, and I walked in this lounge, and when I looked up, I see all these ladies that had that man-woman look. Women that had that mannish way about them. And it's like I came in the middle of a conversation or something. You ever go walk in a group, you are somewhere else, and then you just walk into something and you look, and you know it's not for you to be there, regardless of gender or orientation, something, you're not supposed to be in there. And these were all the ladies, also in the military, I had to, part of your indoctrination when you're a newbie, you have to do the kitchen duty for, I think, 90 days. And so this is also, so when you're helping with the food prep and the cleaning, you'll meet everybody on that ship because you have to serve them, right? So you notice that some of the people look certain ways. I'm referring to the women. That some of the women had that man way about them. And then coincidentally, all of a sudden, all those people who had that man way about them were in this room at that one time. And I walked right out. Fast forward again. Well, I got out of the military. I did not stay long. And it was stressful, the military. Some things had happened to me. There was sexual harassment, not with a woman per se, with some of the guys. There was some things that happened, and other personal things that happened to me, and it put too much stress on me. So I got out of the military honorably, of course, and they're counseling for veterans, place that the VA, the Veteran Administration supplies. So if you want to see a counselor, they're there for you. So I had gone to this, counseling thing, and this was to be a group counseling, this particular session. And all these ladies had suffered sexual trauma. But this one particular lady, again, I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but she seemed like a nice lady, but her story was horrific, like some of the other ladies. But why hers I thought was even more horrific. I mean, they're all horrific. She mentioned that she was raped. She was raped. She was only a 19-year-old, okay, as a child, and she was raped more than once, more than one person, at different time periods. The first time she was raped by someone that she worked with. It was a man, and much older than her. And the encounter resulted in a pregnancy, and she was. They ordered her to have an abortion, which is awful. I mean, she didn't have free will. That was my concern there. And then fast forward, with the same individual, she was raped by a woman. And this woman, I think, more than once. And I thought, look at this. A woman, okay, so what would people say? Okay, now, let's, telling the story now, and what would that woman say? Oh, well, I'm lesbian. No, you're a rapist. Okay, I mean, she's of age. This victim was 19, so she's not. So she's of legal age. But that's still a sexual predator that did that to her, and it messed with this acquaintance mind. And now this individual says that she's now a lesbian, even though she's married to a man. So I didn't understand that component. But I'm just recounting what she says. So why I'm telling this story is that you have people who hide behind the label, the gay, lesbian, homosexual, queer label, as an excuse to be a sexual predator, whether it be a minor or an adult. A sexual predator is a sexual predator, and they're in our military, and I don't think that they should, there should be something. I mean, I know now, like they're saying that they can't just throw you out if you're homosexual in the military, or something like that. That they're now a protected group. But I think you should protect those people who are not homosexual. I don't think homosexuals should be sleeping in the same room with those who are not. And that I remember walking in with that group. They looked spooky. And I don't know what they were discussing, what they were up to. Oh, I was meant to say this also, isn't it? Why the military should really be aware how they're going to handle homosexuality, or I should say sexual predators. Now, again, not all homosexuals are sexual predators. I don't want to say that. But when I was in my schooling in the military, and again, I was one of those ignorant, everybody be happy and free, love everybody mentality, but I had no real wisdom at times. Sometimes I didn't really use my wisdom, because I felt, everybody's supposed to love everybody. You're not supposed to be prejudiced, that's the other trap. Oh, you're prejudiced if you're against something, so I didn't want to be prejudiced. I wanted to love everybody. Well, this particular thing I experienced during this schooling. Now, one day, there was a lady there. Again, I'm not going to mention names, but she was a white lady. And the bulk of the lesbian, again, the military, at least the Navy, most of the people, they're more whites than blacks. Okay, and this is back in the 80s. So most of the people I'm discussing were all Caucasians. Okay, and then in this school, she was an older lady. She was either 30 or 35 when she entered the military. Yeah, she looked kind of bizarre. And she looked like an elderly woman because the color of her hair. She was petite in stature, and she kind of did have a creepy way about her, but and none of the people in the school liked her. They thought she was weird, and they would insult her. So you're weird, you're a freak. And again, I'm supposed to be the liberal. Oh, you're not supposed to say bad words to people, and we're all one big human family, Well, one day, this lady, she comes to me and says, oh, they're harassing me, and I want to transfer out. Oh, I have to back up a little bit. I'm sorry. The same lady, I was eating. I was in the cafeteria, and she was with me. This is during school. They had a cafeteria, and I think we were the only ladies in the room. In the cafeteria. But again, there's mostly men than women in the military, and this is the Navy. And so I'm eating, and then she starts to tell me this story. And the story was, she says, I hate men, and I want to destroy them all. And then, how else she said? When I finish school or something, I want to go and destroy them or kill them. So, and I never heard white people talk like this before. And I think this lady is kind of cuckoo. And I didn't believe it. And she's saying this out in the open, loudly, in front of the men and white men. She said specifically that it was white men that she wanted to destroy. And I did not report it to anybody, because I just thought she was just pulling my leg. And then later on, some days later, when she approached me that the people are harassing her, the other ladies in the school, and will I talk on her behalf or something, because she wants to transfer, and she wants to, back in that, people are bothering her. So I thought, oh, you're supposed to be a good witness, you're supposed to be honest. Yeah, I was really stupid. I wasn't really thinking. And I thought, okay, so the people in charge in the school had me there, and they asked me, hey, what do you know about so and so? She said that these things are happening. I thought, yeah, they were. I did witness that they were picking on her. Yes, and that's basically what I said. Not knowing what I was being used for. Okay, and I think at that time I forgot about her statement in the cafeteria, because again it was many days apart, and it could have been months apart. And I just thought maybe she's just having a bad day or whatever. And so they allowed her to get transferred. So her plan was, I forget the term they used, like, was it a booter? I forget the term that they use when, let's say you're in your school, but you don't finish your training in the school for the job that you set out to do. So they just have you, they teach you how to chip paint. They do the undesirable work. That's like the chipping the paint off the barnacles off the ship, things like that. Oh, we've got instant boatswain's mate. So they were going to transfer her, I think, to California. And that's what her plan was. To move her, to be sent to California. Because she wanted to do so. Because I think she wanted to do this thing to hurt the guys. And I realized I got suckered when, so she was supposed to get the transfer. And I'm just thinking, oh, she just wants, the people teasing her, so she just wants a transfer. But no. I was walking past the room, like I think it was the day after or something, and I'm walking past the room, because this is where where we sleep and everything. We didn't share the same room, but and I remember walking past, and she's with the other man-woman type, and then they look up when I was walking past, and made him like a look at me like you fool type of look. And then right there, it's like her spirit talked to my spirit, like, you dumbass, and excuse my language, you did this. I mean, I played you. And I said, oh my God. I said to myself, oh my God, I got used. She did this. I felt set up. She knew basically my nature, that I would testify, that yes, things were happening to her. They just don't like her. But not that she has this plan. And I realized what she was all about. Again, this is the first time I ever met a person like this. And I didn't know white women could be like that. I didn't know. I was very naive. So, be careful. And that you have people who are now hiding, again, back in those days, you couldn't openly be homosexual / lesbian / gay / queer. You couldn't be that openly, because yes, you would be kicked out. But there were people there, and I remember that they always looked angry. There was an anger about them, and I don't know. So why is it that when you have a preference, sexual preference, why the anger associated with it? if it's just about preference. No. I feel it's a predatory spirit. When you get a group of them, I'm sorry we got cut off there. So the whole point with regard to that woman was that she had an agenda that really only she knew, and that other man-woman knew. And again, coincidentally, they're in the same room together, discussing something. They were like whispering. I was just happened to be walking past the door when they looked up at me like, sucker. She never came to me and said, oh, thank you for testifying that, the people were bothering me, and, I'm going to be going to the other station. But no. That person had an evil agenda and used my good nature to get what she wanted. And I didn't tell anybody about it, because then, it would say, well, you testified to her, so why now you saying something negative about her? So would you think 30 years ago they would believe me that, she did that because she had a motive, and she wants to kill all white men? It would be absurd. They wouldn't believe me. And I would have felt stupid to repeat the story. Wow. So she was transferred out. Never heard from her again. Sometimes like in school, whatever, you all might be trained different things, but they could wind up on your ship, and that's, I had an individual who was in my boot camp that was assigned on the same ship I was, towards my exiting off the ship. So you never know who you might bump into again in the military. But yeah, I remember in boot camp that there was something that happened, that one of those man-women, like I think I had to go somewhere, I forget, maybe I had to go to the ladies' room, and then I had to catch up with my group, because we was in boot camp, and so I had to hurry to catch up with them. And I think I got lost or something. I'm horrible with directions, geography. But I remember coming in the room, and she was like, the man-woman was irritated with me. And that aggression, that male aggression. And when I went to close the door, she threw some type of implement at me. When the door closed. See, that's what I'm talking about, that aggression. And she was one of those man-women. And so it goes more than just a sexual prep or orientation. It's about what's happening inside there when they're with regular people, and how someone wants to predate, or this aggression. I'm just remembering things that happened. Wow, it's just my memory. It's all clicking now. And some other incidents. It's not with the military, but I used to live in Hawaii, and I remember once I was surrounded. I had to clean up something, and I had to use. And I used to live in that particular room. I shared a room with other ladies in this room, and then I got my own separate quarters, sharing with one person now, and so I had to go in to fill up this bucket of water to mop the common area. And we were all women, and I have a large bucket and a mop, and then all of a sudden, these same type of women surrounded me. And this one woman, she says, she probably stole my my bathing suit, blah, 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 blah. And surrounded me. Don't let her go. Don't let her go. You're not supposed to be in there, blah, blah. And as I look, and I'm surrounded by these women, these type of women that kind of different. I had to get another person to get me out of that room. See, that's what I'm discussing. That some women, some people, when they're in a group, that they are predators against people who aren't like them. So who's oppressing who? Okay? And you're doing your job. Well, that happened to me. The same type of thing when I was in the military. The same type of woman that probably raped that other woman that I told you about earlier in the first part of this video. And I feel that they want to, sexual predators want you to become what they are. And I feel it's a spirit that they want to attach onto you. So you become a predator, which is separate from sexual orientation. Because you can have someone who is straight, who's a sexual predator. And just like you can have a homosexual who's a sexual predator. Okay, so we have to remember to separate the terms about sexual predator and someone's sexual preference. This video is not about one's orientation as to sexual preference as to gender. It is about predators who want to hurt you whether you're male or female. And now they're hiding behind the protected status of homosexuality. So again, be cautious. The military should address this issue about the sexual predators that are amongst the young recruits. And we all have to be safe. And I don't think that these sexual predators should be mixed in with the general population in the military. Because when they are together, they are thinking of things of violence. So I just felt it important to share my story, and that other people will share their stories, so that the general population, regardless of your sexual preference, will be protected. Okay? So thank you again for listening. Bye-bye.